Hello, I'm Paul Buckingham, Roving Ambassador for Solo Build It. Before we begin, please let me ask you a question. Let's imagine that you've decided that you want to create an income-generating website that will support you financially in the years to come and well into your retirement. Would you be willing to give up your day job? Would you be willing to pursue your dream of writing without the guarantee that you will land exactly where you're hoping to land, meaning that you don't have to financially rely on going back to work in order to survive? Well, that's exactly what Trudy Roberts did. Exhausted from a highly stressful career in aged care, especially with the COVID pandemic in the United Kingdom, she was determined to find a new way forward, providing a new quality of life for her and her husband, Gavin.
You find out what regrets people have at the end of their lives. I've sat with a lot of people in the final hours of their life, and their regrets would be the things that they wanted to do but hadn't. And I've lost a couple of friends in the last year. They've died my age, and you just put it all together and think, do you know, I don't want to die saying, I wish I'd done that writing. I wish I'd done what I wanted to do.
True to her word, Trudy is dedicating the next 12 months to implementing her plan. She will be fully focused on writing content for the website that she and Gavin have created, motorhomehobos.com. Although Trudy left her job to concentrate on her passion of writing, this is very much a joint project. Gavin is a professional hypnotherapist and a contributor to the site. He is also responsible for the technical aspects because it is hosted on WordPress. Plus, his income provides a financial comfort zone should there be any surprises down the track. Nevertheless, Trudy leaving work was a huge leap of faith for them both. But underpinned by the rock-solid education and support provided by Solo Build It for WordPress users, they are feeling confident that their plans will be realised.
And we would have no idea how to do this ourselves. The Action Guide talks you through that. There's so much info.
Yeah.
We could have spent 10 years trying to gather that information. So I didn't want to waste another 10 years trying to find this information myself.
Most people we talk to in these Solo Build It interviews are at the other end of their journey. They're successful. They're living off their online business supported by Solo Build It. For Gavin and Trudy, they're just beginning, so this interview focuses on the decisions they've made and the impacts they're expecting all the way down the line. We'll start the Motorhome Hobos engine right after this.
The job itself was making me ill. I was working for a wonderful company, don't get me wrong, but the job itself, the stress was making me ill. So I was going to go anyway. So I could have gone on to another job. I have chosen to take a year out to give this the best shot I can. Gav was doing a lot of the writing. I was fitting in where I could. I was tired. I was tetchy. I want to give it a good shot.
It's clearly a joint decision, despite the fact that, it's your money or your job or whatever, and your emotional motivation, if you like. It's clearly still a joint decision. So what's the process that you went through to make that joint decision, as distinct to just saying, well, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to be a writer?
Well, this kind of started out as a hobby, I suppose, to begin with. When we got the van in 2017, road trips, taking lots of little videos and pictures and stuff. But when we stumbled upon SBI, we started to realize there was potential here to turn this hobby into a business. And I think it was spring 2019, there was a moment when we were camping and we started to get some ideas together for an ebook. And we thought, let's do this together. In that moment, we decided that this should be a joint journey, a joint venture. And from that moment on, I think we really started to take it seriously. We'd only just kind of signed up to SBI in April 2019, and we could see the potential straight away.
I understand that process of the moment, and I think a lot of people have that. You know, there's a like, oh, this is fun. It's kind of like playing at a hobby, and you know, all of a sudden you go, gosh, I'm pretty good at making these toy trucks for kids, and my kids always want them. I wonder if I could sell them, you know, and then suddenly it becomes bigger and bigger, and it's the same idea, you know. And you have this, it's a creative moment, but it's also a joint moment together, isn't it? Where the two of you look at each other and go, you know, yes, you know, we're doing this together, you know, come hell or high water. And, you know, if it doesn't work out, then we've given it a red hot go. Is that a fair description?
That's exactly it. Yeah. There was a pivotal moment. We were camping, as I just said, and we were planning this ebook. And I said to Trudy, wouldn't this be great if this was written by Gav and Trudy Roberts?
We weren't married at that point.
And, you know.
It was gorgeous.
That was the moment. And that was the moment. And it was like, yeah, this cemented things, and it was like full steam ahead. And that was it.
So you made the decision, obviously, to get married, and well done on that, and also to really commit to creating what is effectively an online business. It's worth really pointing out here that your previous website relationship has been with WordPress, which is an incredibly popular platform and a very good platform. A lot of people often have trouble with WordPress because it requires a lot of moving parts to make it work for a novice. But you're quite comfortable with that, aren't you, Gavin?
Comfortable now. I wasn't to begin with. But it's what I've used for my hypnotherapy site. And it took me a while to familiarize myself with all the plugins. And, well, it was like sometimes I'd be pulling my hair out. But I just love the functionality of it. Now I've gotten used to plugins. It's so easy. It's just so easy to use.
So you already had one site and you're looking at beginning this other side. What is it that made you look at Solo Build It for WP, or SBI for WP as it's called?
Yeah, we needed to know how to build a decent website, didn't we?
Yeah, we looked at things like Wix and stuff like this, and it didn't tell you anything. It didn't tell you how to build a business.
Yeah.
And we weren't interested in that. We're not geniuses on computers. We needed a step-by-step action guide that would talk us through the whole process. So I spent 2 or 3 months humming and hawing about this. Yeah, I'd read it one week and think, oh, shall we do this or not? I'm not sure. Go back to it again, read some more about it. Eventually, April 2019, I hit the buy button, purchase now, because we see it as a roadmap towards financial freedom, perhaps, eventually. And we know it's going to take a lot of hard work. But we saw it right from the start, the potential, right from the start.
What was it that you felt that you needed to even take advantage of a Solo Build It action guide?
It's more professional, wasn't it? We just felt we needed extra guidance from people who knew what they were talking about. We, in a lot of ways, were winging it.
The thing is, my hypnotherapy business is a bricks and mortar business, mostly. I have a website, of course. But with the motorhome hobos, it's more about affiliate marketing. And we would have no idea how to do this ourselves. The action guide talks you through that. There's so much info in the headquarters and the tips and techniques. We could have spent 10 years trying to gather that information. But it was all in the action guide.
Yeah, and the forums. And
it was just all there. So I didn't want to waste another 10 years trying to find this information myself.
I understand. So then, having pressed the buy button, how did it change your approach to the process of working with your site? Because it does do that.
Yeah, well, it certainly does. It gave us more insights into how the whole thing works, really. As Trudy said, we were kind of winging it to begin with, hitting this button and hoping something was going to happen. But with step-by-step instructions, it just made everything so simple.
Yeah.
You can't fail. If you put the effort and the time in, everything is there for you. And that's what we found so beneficial, reading through each day of the action guides.
What is it that's really stood out to you in the action guide that has really made the difference in your development of the site?
Well, I think this idea that you don't want to buy a domain name straight away. And we found that really difficult, didn't we? It says, I think it's day 4 or day 5, I think you register your domain. Day 5. And we were holding off all that time, worried, because we already had the name. We came up with Motorhome Hobos. We better register it now, just in case someone else gets it. But we held back, didn't we? And so this was one of the key things. Don't dive in there
rush.
straight away.
Yeah.
Work through it properly. Do the research.
Think about it.
Study the niche.
Yeah.
Find the keywords.
Yeah, you loved the brainstorm, didn't you?
No.
Yeah.
I couldn't do. You took over that really, because I'm not a number cruncher. It was just too left-brained for me. But I realised it's a very important part.
Yeah.
There was days when I thought, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to have to quit. I can't do it. But we held on in there together, and we got through. Days 2 and 3 were vital, because we already knew we wanted to work in this niche, van life, motorhomes, stuff like that. But it helped us to kind of really pinpoint what we wanted to do. So I think that's one of the key things from the action guide. Don't dive in with a name straight away. Do the work, do the research, and wait.
We were sure. By the time we started, we were sure. Weren't
Absolutely.
We? Yeah.
By the time we'd
bought
worked
the
through
domain name and everything.
100%. By the time we'd done the research, this was it. We knew by day 4 or 5 on the action guide, we were on the right path.
And that's a huge confidence builder, isn't it? Because you're not writing into the wind.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see the way ahead. It's like a road trip in itself. The action guide is a road trip, if you like. And every day you're getting a bit further down the road.
Yeah.
And you can't go wrong.
You mentioned earlier the forums about how valuable they were. Can you tell me what it is that you find unique about the forums?
When you ask a question on the forums, you don't get jargon back. You get advice back written by people who weren't born knowing everything about a computer. They've often done the same journey that we have. You're talking to ordinary people and they know how to explain it.
The level of support is just incredible, isn't it? You put
Yeah.
a question up and within an hour or two, someone is getting back to you and offering you advice. And it's just incredible from the start when we first say, hey, we are the Motorhome Hobos, we're welcome aboard kind of thing. It just feels
so
like
friendly,
supportive, almost like a family, if you can go that far.
Initially, or when the program said about the forums, we were a bit sort of, ooh, people. And now we've got no hesitation. We will sort of say, ask on a forum.
Yeah.
And it's really quite natural. It's lovely.
Interesting. That's a really, really powerful insight. So it's early days for income, obviously. You've gone and jumped off a cliff and you're still, I don't know whether you're falling or floating yet, but you're off solid ground.
Yeah.
How does the journey feel given that you've got no income coming back in, but you are, you've got this time decay that's going on?
Yeah. I suppose it's adding an edge to it. You can look at that edge and see anxiety, or you can look at that edge and see motivation. I think, again, having left a very stressful job, I had to give myself a couple of weeks to flatten out. sit and cry, whatever. I had to come down. I had to get down off that horrible level. But now I have got the motivation. I can't do nothing. I can't see this as a year-long holiday. It's the motivation to actually do it and enjoy it. It's, it's enjoyment, but there is an edge to it.
So how do you see the ultimate life for you then? Do you see yourselves driving around permanently in a van, renting out your property, Gavin doing his calls on the phone or whatever from, I don't know, the north of Scotland to the depths of Cornwall or something like that, and you busy writing, or is there some other scenario?
That's one of the ones we've...
Yeah, you must be psychic, because that is one scenario that we have, to rent this property out and go traveling and work. Nomadic writers.
Yeah.
I can see clients via Zoom for my hypnotherapy. We can write in the van. That it might be a vision of, say, 3 or 4 years from now.
So it's as much about lifestyle, but not necessarily lifestyles of the rich and famous, but lifestyle of the motorhome hobos.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's why we chose the word hobos, because we're not interested in £100,000 motorhomes. We want to encourage people to enjoy this traveling road trips on a budget. It can be done. Our van cost us just £6,000, and the adventures it's given us is just incredible. So this is the message we try to get across.
Yeah. We're just ordinary people. We didn't have houses to sell, or second house to sell. We didn't have huge incomes, and yet we've still got this thing, and we can still drive around in it. And that is what we want to say.
And where does Solo Build It fit in with that vision? We're 10 years down the track. Do you find yourself going, well, this was a pivotal moment for us? Or do you find yourself going, well, I think I would have worked it out eventually anyway?
Eventually would have been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Solo Build It is pivotal to what we've done so far, and will continue to be so.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to the monetization side of things, we're now starting.
We're
just starting that.
Yeah.
We're just starting that part of the journey.
Anything you wanted to say that I should have asked?
Your questions has really made me reflect more deeply than I have for some time on the importance of Solo Build It in our journey. Because without that, well, I don't know where we'd be. We'd have a Wix website perhaps with no traffic coming in, and not to knock Wix, of course, they're doing they're doing their thing, but we needed step-by-step instructions, because we're not really we're not web builders, and
no,
we are developing a business mindset. And I've been self-employed for 20 years, so I've always had that kind of business mindset. Now we're doing it together in something we're really passionate about, van life.